Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining CViConnect. I'm Stephanie Steffer.
Today, we're going to take a closer look at how you can make your activities in CViConnect do the things you want it to, make it engaging for your student, how to make these events take place within your customized CViConnect activities.
All right, I always like to remind everyone, if you are interested, please feel free to sign up for our newsletter if you haven't already. You will get links and signups for events like this, as well as other information that's coming up in the field, any events that we've heard about from other organizations, we're happy to share with you as well. So it's just a good resource for what's happening in the world of CVI. So I wanted to just check in with everybody. So feel free as we're going through, if you'd like to ask questions or if you want to, I'm giving you examples as we go through today. Feel free to chime in and let me know what are the things you've considered adding for your students. How is this maybe relevant, and kind of give us examples of what you're experiencing. If there's places where you're stuck, or add to me and let me know what it is that you want to know. So feel free to type those in the chat as we continue through our session today. All right, so the biggest thing to realize is when you're putting this in is that it's presented in an if-then situation. So as parents and educators, we use this language often. We tell our students, or our kids at home, mine are in the background, they're wanting to play on their tablets, and it's okay if you do your homework, then you can play on your tablet, right? And so it's always that if-then situation, or when you do your homework, then you get to. So it's also can be looked at as when then. But essentially, these are your options. So if the item was touched, or there was something that landed on it, or if the child missed the target, or it caught an item, or maybe you dragged it over. So there's all these options. These are the ways that you can interact with the screen, right? If these things happen, then you can change the appearance, the motion, the audio visual, the color, the background. You can change the activity that's being displayed. Those are just a few examples to kind of get you guys started, because there's really endless possibilities, but this is the basics. This is the nutshell of it. And I want to kind of start here with you. So I put together some examples. So on the left, we have if the letter Y. So I've touched the letter Y, I went into properties, and then at the bottom, there will be a button that says events. And when you do that, you're getting all of your if statements. Okay. So if touched, and when I select that, this next box will pop up. And then this is where I select my then task, right? So if touched, then I'm going to click on one of these from down below. So in this case, I selected motion, and then I selected move an item. So I was going to say, I want the letter Y to move to these XY coordinates, okay? Which we'll go into in just a second, but this is an example for you. So if the Y is touched, I want the Y to move basically to a specific spot on the screen. So what that would look like when I run the activity is, let's see if I can get this to play. So when I touch the letter Y, it then moves up to the other letter Y to match. So this would be a great example for a kid who does not yet have that visually guided reach and can't drag that up. I was just speaking with a parent the other day who was looking for something like this. So we created this activity example. Another way to do it is maybe you would have only the Y outline up here instead of the exact match. And then maybe you would have the letter Y down here without the outline. And so you'd want the letter to pop into the outline as it moves. That's another option for you. But if your student doesn't have that dragging ability with their motor movements, you could just say touch on the correct letter, and then it'll pop and move into the correct spot for them. Okay, so that's one example of a movement that you could create. Okay, so in this case, I have the cupboard here, And what we were doing is sorting all different kinds of foods. We were working on an orientation mobility lesson and going out shopping, and we bring all of our groceries home. Now, where do they go in the kitchen, and how do I know which one they go into? And so we had our freezer, our fridge, and our cupboard or our pantry, right? And so I was trying to sort everything out to say, when the item is drugged to the correct spot, that something will happen. And so in this case, I wanted to indicate that instead of me touching the item, so let's say we had a food item over here that was going to go into the pantry, which is the correct spot. So we'll say, when you've caught the correct item. So here we've got the action enabled. So we've got caught item as our event. Okay. Then I've, in this example, given a whole series of different things. So you can collect and kind of stack these blocks on top of each other. And as soon as you drag them near each other, they just kind of snap into place, which is really awesome. And if you didn't want them, you can just as easily drag them over to your trash can and get rid of them. And maybe you drug up the wrong box and you don't want it anymore, you can get rid of it, or it doesn't look the way you want it to, just go ahead and get rid of it. But essentially what I said was I wanted it to play this sound and that's okay. So essentially what I was looking for was, hey, I want when the correct food item is drug over to the pantry, I want the sound to play. I want you to show this really cool, fun spinner, and I want you to switch to the next series, the activity in the series. So show me the next food item that's going to be available for us to select from. So in this case, I had to do a couple more things. So I needed to tell there's a lot of things going on the screen. And so I need to tell the pantry, or the cupboard here, this picture, which item is allowed to be caught. So if I had a whole bunch of pictures over here, let's say I had ice cream and bread and milk, not all of those items are going to go into the pantry. So I need to tell this picture, the cupboard picture, which item to catch, right? Which one am I looking for you to sort through? And so there's two things that you have to do in order to do that. You have to find what is your item that is being caught and identify what item is catching. Okay. So to do this, you would go into, in this case, our item that is being caught is our bread. And so when I do that, I'm going to go into properties, and under category, I'm going to label it as bread. Okay. Then I'm going to go into the item that is doing the catching. So in this case, it's the pantry. And I need to go into the properties and scroll down where it says catches object with category name. And again, I'm going to type bread. So those items need to match each other so that it's saying you are going to catch this item. If I were going to have other things available here and other options for them to continue sorting, like I said, ice cream up here, I would need to say category ice cream, and then freezer would have to say category of ice cream, catches with item with category of ice cream. And let's say I had milk. Again, I would have to put that in the milk as category of milk. And then over here on the fridge, I would need to put catches the object with category name of milk. So they all match. And that way the activity designer knows which item it's catching. So if I were to drag the bread over the fridge, nothing's going to happen because that's not the correct item. If I grabbed the milk and put it in the pantry during the activity, nothing's going to happen unless I say, let's see, it would go missed target. So if I drug it to the wrong item and I wanted to indicate that it was a missed item, I can do that. But oops. In this case, I'm only responding if it is the correct action, which needs to be the bread into the pantry. Okay. So the other thing that we have to do is I want this special effect to appear only after they get it correct. So I don't want all of those lights and things to be on the activity right from the start. So the first thing I need to do is go into the properties of the special effect here and make it invisible. So I need to show that as invisible. And that's just by selecting the toggle switch here. So it's normally automatically selected to on. So you would see a little bit of green, kind of like you do with the dynamic and the rotates. But here I've got it selected, so it's turned off. And what you'll see when you do this is that it kind of gets a little bit of a dull color to it. So all of a sudden it's kind of gets a little bit less crisp. And so it's showing you that it's going in the background and that when you start your activity, it won't be visible. So as you can see here, though, that special effect is just gone. It's hidden kind of in the background of our activity. And then when I press play, just like we talked about, if I were to drag that to the pantry, I get a special effect, an awesome sound, and it switches over to the next activity. Now I can sort the can of corn. And I could do the same thing over and over and keep linking them to several different food items for the child to choose from. Okay, now this next one is getting a little bit more in depth, so hang in here with me. I'm going to kind of challenge your brains a little bit as we do this, but this is what I want my activity to end up looking like. Then we're going to go back kind of backwards and dissect how I did all of this, and then we'll revisit it and look at it again, okay? But there are several moving pieces to an activity like this. So this would be like an orientation mobility lesson. You're talking about going from the classroom to the bathroom and making that L-shaped route down the hallway. And so using this on the two-dimensional image, this is where back, if I touched on this rectangle space, this hallway here, when I do that, the picture of the hallway pops up. So now we're getting that realistic image of where the child is actually at in the school. And then they can touch it again. It goes back to the map. Now, if they touch that triangle image, oops, if they touch this triangle here, the picture of the bathroom goes up, which is the landmark that we're looking for in the hallway. And then again, in order to get this picture to go away, the child then touches this bathroom image, the women's bathroom sign, and it goes away. Okay, so we've got lots of different interacting pieces. None of these things can move except for that blue circle. When I touch on the rectangle, I see the hallway. When I touch on the hallway, it goes back to the map. When I touch on the the triangle, I see the bathroom. When I touch on the bathroom, I go back to the map. There's so many different things going on, and we need to make sure we have all of those working pieces in place in order to have the activity successful. So let's walk through exactly how I did just that. So first, I've gone through and I've already added all of the components into my activity. And I went through, and because the hallway image and the women's bathroom image are invisible, like we did in the special effects in the previous activity, you can see how they're a little bit more dull. They're not as vibrant as they are when I showed the activity, right? So those are technically kind of hidden in the background right now. I've already made those invisible. The first thing I want to do is say, okay, if my student touches this triangle, so triangle, if touched, then I want you to show, and I've listed the name of the item, which is this bathroom sign from the women's, okay? Then I had to go into the women's bathroom sign and again, go to properties, events, when touched. So when someone touches this picture, I want you to hide this picture. And so I've just copied that name and pasted it right in there. So there's no chance of me making a mistake in how I've typed it or spelled anything or anything like that, especially because when I fat finger iPad type, I sometimes can do that. So I just have this copy the name on there and paste it right into both of those spots. So I do the same thing here. I just copied the name of the picture I wanted shown and pasted it right in this blank space to tell me what I want to hide. Okay, what I want to show. Then the next thing I need to do is my hallway. So I'm going to go to my hallway and I'm going to touch on it. I'm going to select events when touched, because everything in this case is being activated with touch. And I'm sorry, oops. My slides are bumping on me. I apologize. When touched, I want you to show the image of the hallway. Again, I just pasted that name of the image in there. And then again, when the image is touched, the hallway image, I want you to hide the image of the hallway. Okay. So now when I look at my activity designer and I've put all of the pictures in place where I want them to appear, when I run the activity, this is what it looks like. So it's just all layered on top of each other. So now I'm going to exit out of my designer and I'm going to say, go ahead and run this activity. And this is where I get back to the screen that says, go ahead and drag this blue ball. Here's your hallway when you touch that. And again, I can drag over, touch on my triangle, and show the bathroom image. So I know this is a lot of information really fast. I wanted to do it in this format where I've got it all saved to a PowerPoint and I have the screenshots for you and kind of that script out, because I feel like going back and rewatching this, it'll make it a little bit easier to follow than if I had done it live with you to follow along on the iPad. If you are a current CViConnect Pro subscriber, please contact us and we'll be happy to set up a Zoom meeting to go over any of this if you have questions on creating an activity for your student and it's just not working for you. So feel free to reach out to us and we'll be happy to support you with that. Additionally, this and other videos are available on our YouTube channel. So feel free to check us out on CViConnect YouTube channel. If you don't already have that, I can type that in the chat for you. And then I also have begun creating these new tools for us to post to our website, and they will look a little bit like this. My tools are all hidden on me today. So you'll get a little step-by-step walkthrough of adding the images in and how to make things where you want them to be in the activity designer and exactly how to make these things all happen. So basically a step-by-step direction of everything I just explained verbally to you, but in a Word document step by step with some pictures to go along with it. So in addition to some of these videos and these recordings of us doing these things, you'll also have some of these how-to guides. So we hope that'll be helpful to you and your teams as well. I want to thank you again for joining us. It was a lot of information in a short amount of time, but please feel free to contact me or our support team directly at info@CViConnect.co. Remember, it's .co, not .com. So info@CViConnect.co. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and I hope you guys have a great day.